Hello, Imaginers. It is Kyla coaching you to the career and life that you imagined. Today, I want to talk to you about a new group coaching program that I am starting in January. And I wanted to give you a little sneak peek about the topics and the approach that I'm going to be taking. What I have found with my coaching clients is they are most successful when they learn something and then apply it. This is not that surprising, but yet there are a lot of coaching programs out there that are simply one-on-one coaching that doesn't include educational sessions. And for me and my clients, I have found that this is the most successful combination. So I am thrilled to be starting a group session in a group coaching program in January that will incorporate teaching every week and then group coaching within the container, as it were, and then also time to apply tools, to apply worksheets, things like that, that my students can really take the information and apply it to a current goal, outcome, challenge that they're having either in their career or in the career that they desire. And so today, again, I just wanted to give you a sneak peek. I am calling the program Expanding Your Upper Limit. And as you can see, I put some little marks over limit because we are going to break through that limit. And if you followed me, you know that I've had so many teachers that have been instrumental in my life and my career and my coaching business, but one of the most profound was a book called The Big Leap. And this author really helped me understand that we create our own, basically, glass ceiling for our lives, our careers. And once we get uncomfortable enough and we're bumping up against that phantom glass ceiling, we will actually sabotage ourselves, subconsciously, of course, to stay within our limit. So we're going to use the tools that I love the most, which is hacking our brain, understanding and hacking our brain so that we can expand our upper limit. And there's going to be 3 focus areas that I'm going to be using in this specific program. The first one is I'm going to help you, teach you how to hack being ready. So many of my clients, this is the reason that they haven't taken the steps to the life that they want, is because they don't feel ready. And of course, what we know is ready is our lower brain trying to keep us safe. It is trying anything new, and certainly something that we've never done before to us personally, particularly if it's something we don't know that much about. Our brain tries to stop us. And the way that it stops us is through, you've heard me talk about the motivational triad. So the motivational triad is the 3 motivating urges that we have that honestly kept us alive for a very long time. And those are to seek pleasure, avoid pain, and be efficient. And normally when we are trying something new, there's not necessarily pleasure, certainly not at the beginning. There's some pain usually within our brain, and it's not efficient because we don't know how to do it yet, probably. And there's a lot of things that we learn in coaching that can help us overcome that efficiency. But for the most part, it flies in the face of the motivational triad to expand our upper limit. So there's always going to be what feels like maybe intuition to stay where you are. It feels a lot safer. And you've heard me talk about this is why it feels so fantastic to binge TV, ideally with snack food. And that is again, a primal urge. It kept us alive, but I am so grateful to know that there is a hack that we can get around it. And so one of the first areas we're going to focus on is how to hack your brain so that you don't have to be ready. We will teach you how to understand what is holding you back from being ready. Oftentimes, again, our brains will offer us, you need to have more information, you need to have more knowledge, you need to have more financial resources. None of that is true. It is all a construct in our brain that we can hack, I promise. The second way that we're going to expand your upper limit is to what I call disrupt the spin. So if you're like me, there have been times in your life where you go into the spin cycle, the rabbit hole, whatever you want to call it. And that spin cycle is almost I always think of it as a slight malfunction in our brain that kind of keeps us in this loop that feels very necessary, but in reality, it's a little bit of a malfunction. And the more we can understand what's happening in our brain, the more that we can very gently stop the spin and start to move forward. But I'm going to give you some very practical ways that you can identify when you're in the spin, and then also give you some very practical ways that you can move forward once you have identified that you're in the spin, because awareness, of course, is such a critical first step. But once you have awareness, then I want to make sure you're given practical, applicable ways that you can continue to move forward. And oftentimes disrupting the spin means simply giving yourself a new habit so that when you feel the spin coming, or you know that you're in the spin, you can do something else. And I can tell you that once we create a new habit for this, this works for any area of your life. It is fantastic. I have had clients who reacted in one way in a situation before I taught them this, and then a very similar situation, they found themselves later reacting completely differently. And that's because they had summoned what is already inside them. I'm just a little bit of a teaching vessel, but they've summoned what was inside of them to have a different habit, which caused a different reaction in the moment. And that gives us such a empowered tool that we can all use no matter what life hands us. So much of what happens in our lives is unexpected. And for me, this has made such a difference with feeling so empowered. And I know my clients would say the same thing, to handle anything that comes their way. And then the third thing we're going to do after we hack you being ready to move ahead, to create a goal, to start something new that you haven't tried. It could be anything. We start to disrupt the spin. So as you set the goal, then your brain really is going to freak out. When we set our goals, that's when our brain knows that we're serious. And so that's really when it tends to completely flip out. And so these steps are in very specific order, because I want to give you the way that it happens in our brain, help you understand what's happening in each area, and then give you the next step as things continue to emerge. You will have, again, those very practical tools that you can use no matter what the situation. So then the third thing we're going to do is I'm going to teach you how to make your outcome or goal inevitable. Can you imagine if your goal was inevitable, right? Wouldn't that be amazing if you set a goal and your brain said, we got this, done, no problem. And in reality, I promise that you've done this in other areas of your life. And one of the ways that I created a process for this is looking back at ways that I had created inevitability. And I began to create a process that could model what I had done when I created inevitability. And that is what I'm going to be teaching in this section. The other thing that we're going to ultimately receive as a byproduct through this process is less decision fatigue. We live in a society where we're faced with thousands of decisions every day. And so many of them are habitual, so we don't notice them. But decision fatigue, it is real. And unfortunately, because we have so many decisions that we're required to make, in the sense of, am I going to get up today? Am I going to get out of bed? Am I going to take a step forward? Again, a lot of those are habitual, but those still require our brain to be turned on, even when it's in a habit. And so you can imagine by the end of the day, which is when a lot of us work on our business who are still in corporate America, or if you have your own business, you kind of get to the part of your day where you can focus on yourself and moving your business forward. It tends to be, usually at a time of day that you have made thousands of decisions already and you're in complete decision fatigue. And so one of the things this process is going to help with is that decision fatigue, the decision avoidance that we see oftentimes when someone is not moving forward. They are simply avoiding that fatigue that they feel in the decision-making process. And ultimately, we create a habit where we just avoid the decision. And so we're going to teach you how to, again, hack so that you don't have to be ready. We're going to disrupt the spin that you start to get in when your brain kind of flips out when you set a goal after you've figured out how to hack being ready. And then we're going to help you with the process that's going to make your outcome, your goal, inevitable. And this, as you can imagine, is going to expand your upper limit. I have used this with myself. I have used this with my clients. I am so thrilled to be teaching this in a group setting starting again in January. If you would like more information, click on the link below and it will take you to a page that has more information about the program, all of the details, ways that you can sign up.